Hey Mike, have you heard of Bigfoot hurting anybody at any time?
Well, there's a lot of conjecture about that. There's a story that appears in one of Teddy Roosevelt's books. It's a story told by a couple of trappers, well, by one trapper, about a couple of trappers. And in the story, there's apparently a Bigfoot that's coming around their camp. They actually see it in the middle of the night. They wake up and they're asleep in a lean-to, and they see this figure in the night standing there up on two legs, and they take a shot at it, and it runs off on two legs. So they decide that they're going to leave the area. Now, they had been warned not to go there because it was, a taboo place where people shouldn't go because people go there and never come back, this kind of thing. They went there anyway, figuring there'd be lots of animals to trap as a result. But they'd had all this problem, and then once they saw that figure in the middle of the night, they decided to leave. So one of them was packing up the gear, and the other one was out getting the traps. And the guy came back with the traps and found his partner there dead. And as the story goes, he had his throat torn out, and whatever killed him apparently rolled on the body. That's a common thing. Animals will do that sometimes. But there's really no connections directly to Bigfoot with this, other than the fact that they apparently had seen one the night before. So I don't know. I think a lot of researchers say that's the first written account of a Bigfoot killing a person. I don't know. I don't think Bigfoot kill by tearing their throats, but that might be the case. I kind of doubt it. I think it's more likely that some other animal killed the trapper. But there is another story that I came across having to do with miners in a mining camp up in Chetco, Oregon. It was 1890, if I'm not mistaken, and they had been having problems with bears. They had grizzly bears that would come into camp on occasion, and so they were being beleaguered by some animal getting into their supplies, and so they were keeping an extra watchful eye, and they made sure somebody was awake all night to sound an alarm should a bear come into camp. Well, on this one occasion, apparently a Bigfoot came into camp. They sounded the alarm. Everybody woke up. The Bigfoot turned around and headed back into the forest. And as the story goes, two of the miners grabbed lanterns and rifles and took off after the Bigfoot into the forest. And so a short time later, they heard gunfire. So the people at camp figured that the miners had taken care of this Bigfoot, and they waited for them to return. And then time went by, and of course the men didn't come back. So they finally sent a posse out, and they found the two men, and they'd had all their limbs removed from their bodies. So now that, I think, is a genuine Bigfoot kill. And I would have to point out that was in self-defense. They went after it with lights and guns. So as far as I know, that's the last story of a Bigfoot harming a person. And like I said, it was in 1890, so we've had a long time for them to interact with a lot of people, and apparently no other stories. There's a few stories that'll filter around occasionally on the internet and so forth, modern tales indicating possible kills by a Bigfoot, but there's none that I've been able to actually get a line on, read the whole story, and be able to check. So I think those are largely rumors, but I think the one from 1890 is probably the real deal.